Welcome once again to the Die Again podcast, an actual play tabletop role-playing game podcast. I'm your game master, Josiah, and with me is my player,
William, ready to die again.
for the first time.
It's kind of like Final Fantasy. It's never final.
Yeah, that was my reaction when I first walked into a game store and I saw Final Fantasy, I think it was 9 on the shelf, and I was like, well, can't be very final then, can it?
Yep.
Alright, so today you're playing Randall Mantone, a software engineer at the Champney Technological Corporation, based out of the town of Willwood, Arkansas. What does Randall look like?
Well, Randall Mantone, he used to be a jock, but these days he's a tech guru, so I imagine he is fairly fit. Do we have an age, or is that being...
It's up to you. I'd say he's got to be past his early 20s.
Okay.
But anything beyond that's open.
Okay, so he's, let's just say he's 26, still fairly athletic, but focuses more on his work stuff.
Give it another 10 years, he'll have a gut.
Yeah.
When it all catches up to him. So, working at the CTC, as we're going to call it for now, normally pretty good. It's early 2000s. I don't know if you remember what offices from around then kind of looked like, with the sort of off-white, slightly yellow walls everywhere, and the really drab tiles, and the light that was always a little bit off and gave you a headache over time.
Not the ones where everything was ever so slightly green.
Some of those are in the basement.
Oh, okay.
The CTC building is one of the largest in the mid-sized town of Willwood. It's 6 floors high, and it has a basement. You work primarily on the 4th floor. You are both the database administrator, and you handle in-house software, so assorted utilities and that sort of thing. Normally a pretty quiet job, but you've had to stay late. It is 11 p.m. You're trying to get a project finished up. What does staying late look like for Randall? You do have, calling in office might be generous, you have something closer to a closet with a computer in it.
Okay. So Randall works for the CTC, but on the 1st floor, there's a indoor gym. So as far as he's concerned, he doesn't mind working the extra hours because he could just spend an hour and a half working out like crazy and just keep on working. You know, he packs a stale chicken, rice, and broccoli meal because it's got to have a good source of protein, and he's all about that grind. And yeah, so he's totally fine with being a gym rat / work rat. So there you go.
All right. Does he work with his door open or closed normally?
Well, he works in a closet, so it's definitely open because otherwise I think he'd suffocate.
It does have ventilation, but all right. Let me see if this is something you need to make a roll for or not. Okay, so yeah. So first roll of the game, you're going to make a nerd roll to perceive a sound as you're working.
Okay, so my nerd is at 1. Does that mean 1 dice or 2 dice and I add?
2 dice and you add 1.
Okay. That is a 5 total.
5. Okay, so that means you don't hear anything until it's a little bit later than you might like. You hear closer than you would like the sound of footsteps approaching.
Okay.
And this is odd because, as far as you know, you're the only person there right now. There is a storm going on outside. It's pretty bad. And your outside connection to internet has been going in and out. And if you've been looking at your phone, that's also been going in and out of service.
Okay. What year are we in again?
Early 2000s.
Early 2000s. Okay. So I start to hear whoever's approaching.
From the sound, what you're hearing is they're probably, I'd say, 12 feet from you.
Okay, so I think being a jock in my past life, he's going to be really friendly and say, hey, who's out there? Like, not in a weird way, but...
Do you spin around in your chair and say that? Or do you just say it while facing your computer?
I would imagine that I would have my computer set up to where when I'm looking at the door, I'm also looking at the computer.
The way the room is laid out, that's not possible.
Okay, so then I'll turn around.
Okay, you see a half-rotted, shambling corpse moving towards you, just like in the movies.
Well, shit.
And because of your poor perception roll, you've reacted too late to be able to simply maneuver past it. It is, to get out of your closet, you're going to have to actually do something about it.
Okay, so guys... I hope you enjoyed this podcast. The episode's over. No. Dang it. Okay. Is my character green to this kind of thing?
Yes, this is.
Okay.
It could conceivably be the first real threat of violence he's ever had, as well as being the first paranormal incident.
Okay. So he grabs his samurai sword he's always had on his desk. No. He sees this and he's going to kind of internally freak out. The idea of a zombie like thing, essentially, right?
Yeah.
I think what he would want to do is get out of there. He has read comic books, he's seen movies, so he's gonna be weary of getting scratched or bit by this thing. I think my goal is to try to get to, you know how, like, I don't know how it works in a modern office setting, but how there's typically like an area where you can get to a phone that you can use to call different departments or whatnot. He
Yeah.
wants to try to get to that, and considering how late it is, try to get a hold of security.
All right. First things first, you're going to try and get past this thing.
Right.
So are you just going to try and shoulder check it out of the way and keep moving?
So there's the entrance to my little closet office. And this monster's pretty much right there.
Pretty much. You're going to have to do something to get past it, since you reacted too late to just be able to get around it.
I'm trying to imagine if my character maybe has a frame or maybe even his computer monitor, grabbing that and making like a makeshift shield.
You could have like a diploma framed. You could have like a lunchbox, like a big lunchbox, because you're saying you pack basically lunch and extra food. So I'm imagining this is like an anime when they like, I made too much food, and they pull out this 8-layer monstrosity. I feel like you just do that every day.
Okay. So yeah, he grabs his Spider-Man lunch pail and
Exactly.
yeah, so he's gonna use that like a makeshift shield and try to channel in his inner jaw and body check the zombie.
So you can roll jock, and I'll let you, if you fail the roll, you can re-roll it because of your past in the sports team. But you can only do that once per session. So
okay. That is a 8 total.
flat.
Rolled a 6 and a 1 and then the +1.
So you managed to get past it. You don't seem to do any real harm to this thing, but you're a little bit past it now. And it basically, when you hit it with your lunchbox dents and it sort of spins. So it's still tracking you as you do this. And it continues to follow you as you basically run for a...
Okay. Just out of curiosity, did this feel like like dead weight, how heavy that is? Did it feel like that kind of density?
Yeah, I'm imagining your guy, whether or not he was part of the football team the whole time, he's probably at least tried running in and tackling one of those things they use for training.
Right.
It's kind of like that.
Like,
this thing's substantial.
Yeah, because I'm imagining, even though he's clearly out of high school, it's a long time away. Let's assume he didn't play sports for college. He was focused on his tech stuff. But I'm pretty sure he has a sense of what a body should feel like running into it, and if that's weird or not.
It definitely feels like a body. It might have a little more give than he expects, just because of the rot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely very real and physical.
Okay, so I body check it, I spin it, it's still tracking me, and I'm gonna book it to the center telephone or wherever that would be.
All right, you get to the phone and you're planning, let's see, I'm trying to think if this place would have a line for security or not. I feel like I'll make a roll for it, because I'm imagining that this place has a guard, but it's more of like there's just one guy at any given time at the first floor.
Like a rent-a-cop kind of thing.
Yeah. Like what malls have. Yeah, so there's no line to call that specifically. There is an internal line, so if you want to try and call another department, you can. Next to it is also the fire extinguisher and fire alarm, if you want to pull that or grab that.
Okay, I'm definitely going to grab the fire extinguisher. And I'm on the 4th floor, correct?
Yes.
I kind of want to, because I'm imagining my character is very like into thinking about movies and referencing things like the nerd he is, which I am. So Die Hard, I'm thinking if he can just makeshift his way into, like, he wants to get above ground from this thing because he's willing to bet that maybe it's not intelligent enough to track him if he's not on the same like plane, so to speak.
So what are you thinking you're going to try and do?
If there's a way for me to get into like the vents and maybe hide in there, or if not that, then maybe try the elevator and then push open the safety hatch on the top and try to get above that something along those lines.
I'm going to start and just roll to see if the vents are big enough and if you would think they're sturdy enough, because that would be abnormal construction.
True. But, maybe this is in the movie universe and things are built like that.
Yeah, no, these are those like letterbox size vents. So you look up and you remember, oh no, this office blows.
What about like the elevator? I'm assuming
There is an elevator, so you can go in and try that if you like.
I'd like to go in there and, because I'm thinking if I were to activate the elevator, knowing whether or not this zombie like thing can operate that elevator would be very valuable information. If it's smart enough to know to push the button to open it, kind of thing.
I want you to make another jock roll to try and just outpace this thing.
Okay. Man, I'm not rolling great. 6.
A 6. You still have that reroll. You haven't used it yet.
Will I fail with a 6?
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and...
You need at least an 8.
I'm going to go ahead and roll it then. That's a 7.
7. Okay, so you're running. You manage to get into the elevator, but it drags and cuts your arm with its fingers, like tearing at the skin. Not too bad, but you do take 1 point of damage. But you're in the elevator, and it's not quite in yet, so you have a moment to try and do something.
Well, I'm going to try to close the elevator then. Try to activate the switch for it to close.
I'm going to make a luck roll for the thing everybody's tried to do at least once. Make the elevator close before someone gets in.
Well, if I need to, I will throw this fire extinguisher at its head.
I'm going to say the doors are closing, but if you want to keep it fully out, not risk it getting an arm in, you're going to need to make a jock roll to shove it.
Okay. I'm going to try to shove it with the fire extinguisher because that has some weight to it.
Okay, so you'll get a +1 for that. I should have given you a +1 for the lunchbox before, but not really important that time.
So a +1 on top of the jock +1?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. That's a 9.
A 9. Okay, so you managed to just stick that fire extinguisher into its chest, basically, shoving it back. You lose the fire extinguisher, but you knock it away.
Okay.
And the doors close. You can hear it sort of slamming itself against the door, but it doesn't seem to be making any headway right now.
So this is early 2000s, so I think it would be very common for me to have pen and paper. I want to write on there that I got scratched at the time that I did, because I don't know what this is.
So,
just a document.
Yeah, so you write that down in your little note.
Yeah. So still, it doesn't sound like this thing can operate an elevator.
It doesn't appear to be pressing any buttons to open it or anything. It's just sort of slamming itself against the door.
Now the real question is do I go up or do I go down? Do I know where the security part of the building would be? Or I guess you said it was just in the front, right? Because they have like
there's just a rent-a-cop on the ground floor to keep out any trespassers.
Does my character know whether or not they have like closed loop monitoring like cameras?
CCTV?
Yeah.
Let's make a roll for that. I'll say for sure you have them on the ground floor.
Okay.
So just on the ground floor. And you also access them from there as well.
And my cell phone's still bugging out?
Yeah, it's just real intermittent. It's a pretty bad thunderstorm.
Okay, I'm going to try to go down to the first floor then.
So you're just going to hit the button.
To go down, yeah.
All right, the elevator manages to go down, seemingly without incident. Unfortunately, you do notice that as you are going down the third floor, you also hear something banging at the door. The second floor, you hear it again.
Is it more or pretty much the same?
It seems to be around the same, but you also start to hear it at the first floor. And this, I don't think I need to require a roll for this. This is more.
Okay, so...
And the doors start to open because it's an elevator.
Right. As it opens, I see, like, is there a zombie right there in front of that door?
Yeah, there's one that its arm sticks through as soon as the thing opens, and you can see another one to its side, and you can see more beyond that. And this is happening very quickly.
Yeah, I could tell. I'm going to try to close this door again. If there's no way for me to close it now, I'm going to try to go for that emergency hatch that should be on the top of that elevator.
Yeah, I think you would know the elevator isn't going to be able to close its door until it's opened it. So I think you're going to probably want to go straight up.
No, I grab my Raspberry Pi, I plug it into the board for the for the thing and force it to close itself now. Okay, well that sucks.
So I'm going to say you're going to need to make a jock roll again. Actually, I think this qualifies as a punk roll, which you don't have any bonuses for.
Because I'm doing something that I shouldn't.
Because you're dodging.
Oh, okay.
It should be in the list of things that it's for, but I didn't remember to put it back
So
in.
I'm rolling to dodge their attacks.
Yeah, basically, because you're not trying to hurt them, you're just trying to get out.
I rolled a 5.
Okay, let me think. That means they're going to grab you and tear at your leg. I'm going to make a luck roll to see if you get dragged down still, or if you do just take the damage and get up there. All right, so you're up there now,
Okay.
but you do take 3 damage, tearing up your leg in the process. So you're panting on top of the elevator, cables running up
Can I close that door? I know it's
the
not gonna,
hatch.
yeah.
Yeah, you can. I'm thinking it opens up, so you should be able to just close it again.
Okay.
You can see them. They're just sort of circling the hatch, not really understanding where you've gone.
Well, okay. I look around. The only options I really have at this point is maybe trying to climb the cable.
You can climb the cable. This is a 2 elevator setup. The other elevator isn't on the ground floor.
Okay.
So it's actually 1 floor down. It's in the basement.
Oh.
So if you want to try and jump to those cables and climb down those cables, you could. And then you could go into that elevator from the top.
Let's try that. I don't know how well this is going to go, though. My arm's been scratched and my leg has been kind of torn at.
Torn up, yeah.
Let's try that, though.
Yeah, I can't decide if I'm doing this right, but this will be how my version of Tunnel Goons plays, because I want you to keep moving forward as you take damage. So this will be another jock roll to climb down.
Can we add nerd for an understanding of physics?
No.
Dang it.
But you do get +1 for your vice.
What is my vice? Oh, yeah, that works. Foolishness. I'll take it, man. So jock +2 to this, 9.
9. Okay, so you manage to get down, but you do slightly hurt yourself. You come down a little bit harder than you meant to, so you take 1 point of damage. But you're there. Make a nerd roll.
Well, now I want to roll high. 12.
Okay. Listening, you hear that there's one body slamming against the door of this elevator.
Okay. Do I still have my lunch pail?
I don't think you ever dropped it, so we'll say sure.
I feel like at this point, I'm fairly confident that I'm only hearing one monster. That I'm going to just get my lunch pail and just open it up and ram right into him before he has a chance of hitting me.
Let's call that a jock roll. So you're going to climb down there, press the open button, ready your pail, and just slam in.
Yeah.
All right, and +1 for the lunch pail.
And +1 for foolishness. So +3. Yes? No?
Yeah, I'll give you +1 because you're actually picking this fight, yeah.
Okay. So with the +3, that's 13.
Nice. So this is probably the first time that you feel like you've really hurt one of these things. Its arm comes off as you slam into it and it staggers back. You can see you're in the basement now. The basement contains, you probably already know this, we'll have the boiler room, all the breaker switches, janitorial equipment, and a few other things.
The monster I just tackled, are they wearing a company uniform, a suit? Is it obvious that this person probably is an employee?
No, they have scraps of cloth on them, but it's very decayed.
Okay. Is there anything I can utilize as a weapon to try to decapitate this monster?
For a given definition of decapitate, yes. There are 2 things that are of use here. One is there's the gardening tools are there. So there are secateurs, that's for pruning.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a fairly large breaker bar for the boiler room. So you could just use that to just bash it.
Right. And just destroy its head.
Either of those.
Okay, I want to go to the breaker bar and utilize that to just smash in this thing's head.
All right, so you've basically gone lunch pail, shield, breaker bar, club, and you're going to wade into combat with this thing.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not giving you foolishness this time because you're actually going in with a decent plan,
Okay.
but you do get +2 because of basically having a mace and a shield here.
Okay.
So, jock again.
That's a total 6.
Luckily for you, the way their health works is that it's also the difficulty score. So as you injure them, they get weaker.
Oh.
So you finish it off, slamming your breaker bar into its skull, and it collapses dead and not moving.
Okay, so now that it's done, is there anything else down here that I can use?
Like I said, boiler room, breaker, so you've got the electrical stuff for that, fuses and whatnot. The gardening equipment, So there's some fertilizer. There's obviously a fire extinguisher with the boiler room and all that. There's stairs upwards if you want to try and take those.
Do I know if those stairs are just emergency stairs, or is that like another way to most employees to go through the different floors? I guess I'm asking, is this a normal thing or more just meant for emergencies?
Normal stairs.
Okay. Is there a radio somewhere on this floor? Somebody listening to music while they're working?
There is. It's in the gardening section.
Okay. Then I want to head over to the gardening section and turn it on. What do I hear?
You're mostly getting bursts of static and intermittent classic rock. As you twist the dial to try different stations, it's just the interference from this storm is really bad.
Okay. And I assume there's no computer anywhere on this floor?
On this floor, no.
I'm going to go ahead and grab the fire extinguisher that's on this floor. How are my wounds looking?
They are bleeding. You haven't bandaged them up, so I'll say if you don't do something about them fairly soon, I'll have you start just taking damage.
Is there a emergency med kit kind of thing down here? I feel like there would be.
Yeah, there'll be a first aid kit, yeah.
Okay. I want to go over to that, and I would think I could use my jock because I'm sure I took sports medicine at some point and use that to bandage myself up.
I'll say it's nerd, but yeah.
It could be both.
Could be, but in my world that I've designed carefully and with much consideration, yeah, it's just +1.
These dice hate me. That's a 4 total.
So you managed to wrap some gauze around it, but you think you need stitches. And that is well beyond what you can do.
Right. Fair enough. Okay. So after that, right now I have my lunch pail, my cheater bar, right? And a fire extinguisher. I'm going to go ahead and go up to the stairs, and I just want to cautiously listen. Slowly go up, but if I hear anything, I don't really want to proceed any further.
Make a nerd roll for your listening then.
6 total.
6. Okay, so you do what you can hear sounds sort of like there's banging at doors above you, but you can't tell if that's from inside the stairs or outside. And it's hard to tell where it is exactly because it's, concrete stairs, concrete walls, so it's sort of echoing up and down.
Right. Okay, so with that, do I know if these doors, when you go up the stairs, is there a window panel on the doors or are they just solid?
They have the little rectangular window panel.
So my plan is then I'm going to go ahead and walk up to the first floor, but I'm going to have the fire extinguisher ready. And my plan is if I get attacked by anything or like about to be, I'll use the fire extinguisher to make cover for myself. And then I'm going to book it back down into that elevator and close it.
So you're going to try and sneak up to that door and look around?
Yeah.
All right, make a punk roll.
That's a 8.
Okay, cool. So you managed to get up there. You don't see any zombies around the door. And then you get up to it and look through. You can see there's probably about 5 or 6 zombies on that ground floor.
Do I see the security guard? Like his body or something along those lines?
You see some feet, like at the periphery of what you can see, but it's hard to say whether or not that's him.
Not moving, I'm assuming, right?
Right.
How many did you say? Did I see?
About 5.
5.
Within your range of view.
Right, which who knows? There could be a dozen in there. Okay, so with that, I think I'm going to sneak back down to the basement and I'm going to take that elevator. And so I already know the first, second, and third, and fourth definitely have something in there. I want to hear the fifth, and assuming that's also sounds like there's stuff there, the 6, and just see what's what.
So you're going to take the elevator to the 6th floor? Or to...
I'll go up to the 5th floor, check it, and then the 6th.
I'm just checking because whichever floor you go to, the doors will open.
Does the stairs go all the way up to the 6th floor?
Yes. Fire code requires.
Okay. Are these mag-lock doors, or are they traditional?
Traditional.
Okay. Are these normal key-operated doors?
The ones in the stairs, yeah, they do have keys.
Is that something that could potentially be in the basement?
Yeah, I'd say probably the groundskeeper has those. Or the janitor, rather.
Right. I want to go back down there and collect those. And my thinking is I want to go ahead and slowly go up to the 6th floor, but on each door, I want to ensure that it's locked.
Are you going slow and sneaking, or are you just trying to go fast in case you can get there before something gets through?
I think my guy's sneaking at this point. He's already at half his health, you know? There's no way that he wants to engage in more fights than necessary.
All right, so you're sneaking up. I'll say since you already did this for the first floor, you can just do that one. That's free. And then you start sneaking up to the second floor, and that's where we'll leave it.
Okay. Well, that was brutal. How is Randall Mantone going to make it out of this mysterious zombie outbreak? Find out next time on the next episode. Thank you for joining us for the season 2 of the Die Again podcast. Please consider giving us a follow and tune in next time. If enough bad rolls happen, my guy would be dead.